A pro-natalist couple that seeks to convince others to have a ton of children seem to dislike their own kids, Cenk. Malcolm and Simone Collins are now receiving backlash for disciplining their children like animals. Now, the pro-natalists fear that the falling birth rates in certain developed countries like the United States and most of Europe will lead to the extinction of cultures, the breakdown of economies, and ultimately the collapse of civilization. And look, to be sure, birth rates are down and we should find solutions to it. Like, I don't know, doing something about the fact that people can't afford childcare. Like members of the military, this was a big story this week, can't afford childcare. So what are people supposed to do when they're expected to work endlessly and then they need someone to watch their kids as they're working, but there are no options? But let me continue. This couple wants to do a different strategy, which is pressure people to have more kids without actually making the country a little more friendly to people who actually want to have kids. So according to the Collinses, as long as each of their descendants can commit to having 8 children for at least 11 generations, their bloodline will outnumber that of other families. I think it's weird if you're obsessed with something like that, but apparently they are. And they currently have 4 kids, but plan on having a minimum of 7. Now, let's pivot to this controversy because the Collins are in the news over the fact that Malcolm, the man in the relationship, openly, publicly slapped his 2-year-old toddler in the face during an interview with The Guardian's Jenny Kleeman. While at a Thai restaurant, Kleeman described the following scene. 2-year-old son, Torsten Savage, that's the child's name, has knocked the table with his foot and caused it to teeter, to almost topple before it rights itself. Immediately, like a reflex, Malcolm hits him in the face. It is not a heavy blow, but it is a slap with the palm of his hand direct to his 2-year-old son's face that's firm enough for me to hear on my voice recorder when I play it back later. Torsten whimpers. In a restaurant, you gotta be nice, Malcolm says. I love you, but you gotta be nice in restaurants. No toasty. You're going to get bopped if you do that. So I don't know if slapping a 2-year-old in the face is the right way of disciplining them. I don't have kids, so maybe I don't have the expertise necessary to weigh in on this, Cenk, but you've got kids.
Yeah. So look, I'm of 2 minds on this. On the one hand, I find it unconscionable. I don't understand how people can do it. So, I mean,
in the face.
I've got an 11-year-old and a 13-year-old, but obviously they went through all the stages, right? Slapping my 13-year-old son in the face seems, I just can't imagine it. It's such a foreign, crazy thing to do. Slapping my 11-year-old daughter, like that's nuts. But then the only thing worse is doing it when they were 2.
Have you guys ever seen a 2-year-old?
Like these chubby little cheeks running around and you're like, oh, I don't like what you do. Bam, what? What?
Listen,
okay, so
one of my nieces is 2 years old. And make no mistake about it, she's a little terrorist, okay? I love her to death, she's so cute. I just wanna like, smush her. But she's very strong-willed, she misbehaves.
I wonder where she got that from.
Yeah, I mean, she's a little bit like me. But anyway, the idea is she's tiny, 2-year-olds are tiny. An adult slapping her in the face? That's insane.
Oh, it's just a bop. Okay, so but wait a minute, I said that I'm a little torn on it, why? Because guys, the generation before us, and of course they teach this through their actions and through what they've said, used to hit kids all the time. And old world generations, like people that came from the old world, all across the world, it doesn't really quite matter. Asian, African, Latino, Middle Eastern, it doesn't matter. Almost universally hit their kids, right? Does that mean all of those different cultures did? Of course not. Does it mean that everybody in those cultures did? Of course not. But, and in here in America too, earlier generations used to hit their kids all the time. So some people grew up thinking that's what you're supposed to do. Like they think that if you're not doing that, that you're hurting the kids by not disciplining them. So we're stuck in this cultural transition where we don't want them to do that. We think it's kind of crazy. On the other hand, what am I gonna do, arrest them? I don't know.
No,
look, there's a level at which arresting them is obvious, right? If they really hurt the kids, it's not close, right?
Agreed.
And then there are standards, and different states have different standards. But I'm trying to be empathetic to everyone involved, right? So I don't happen to agree with their politics here in this case, but I don't let that affect whether I think they should be punished or not punished for this. But so
no, I want to be clear. I mean, this one incident alone, I don't think should lead to like an investigation and possible prosecution. That doesn't make any sense. However, I do think it's inappropriate to slap a 2-year-old toddler in the face. And I say that as someone who, and this might be the first time I've ever admitted this on camera, I'm not entirely against spanking, but I'm talking about like, you have disappointed me and I'm gonna give you like a slap in the butt, right? I don't know how effective that is, but I know that there are people who have like this visceral negative reaction to it. I don't have that negative reaction to it. It really depends on how the corporal punishment is carried out. I grew up with my parents, they spanked me when I was bad. I continue to be bad, like it didn't really work. So that's another thing to keep in mind. And when I say bad, I mean rebellious, okay? So but I say that because I do think there's a difference between, doing a slap on the butt and then literally slapping a 2-year-old in the face in front of a reporter.
Yeah, so look, I've talked before about a couple times that my parents spanked me, and it wasn't just on the butt. But
same.
Yeah, look, I get it. They grew up in a time where that would happen 2,000 times more than what they did to me, right? So they showed a lot of restraint from their point of view in the way that they grew up, right? So now that doesn't mean that it was right, but I just like holding it against them, I don't think is helpful at all when they grew up in a completely different context and perspective. And I do remember though one time my dad is hitting me for I did do things that were wrong, sometimes significantly wrong. And then he's like, stop crying. And I remember thinking as a kid, I would if you stopped hitting me.
I know, right? Same thing happened with me. I was just like, okay.
And my dad's a super sweet guy. Look, that's why I say it depends. And let's show a little bit more grace to each other. Show grace to the kids if you can, please.
Yes.
And then show grace to parents who grew up in a different context. And so, but we do. Let's try to get past it because it doesn't work at all.
It doesn't. I agree. It does not work. Okay, so with that in mind, you would think, all right, the slap in the face for the 2-year-old toddler that led to a lot of rage from the readers, even though smacking is not illegal in the state of Pennsylvania, where this couple resides. But Malcolm decided, you know what? I'm actually going to make this situation worse for myself. Okay, and my family, because in a follow-up interview with Business Insider, he doubled down. Basically, across the nose is what we aim for. The reason I think it's better than a slap on the wrist is because it doesn't need to be painful to have the same impact. By that, what I mean is when somebody enters the space around your face, it is very shocking and very reorienting, especially if you're in an emotional loop, which is easy for kids to get into. So it's not that he meant to slap the 2-year-old toddler in the face. He just meant to slap the 2-year-old toddler across the nose.
Yeah, not buying it.
What does that even mean?
I don't understand the distinction. Like, again, I wasn't there, so I don't know if he did this, like bop him on the nose.
Slap.
But if you slap him like this, that's not bopping him, and that's not on the nose. You might have accidentally hit his nose, or you might have tried to hit his nose and then accidentally hit 80% of his face. Anyways, you slapped him. Get past it.
Now he says that he understands why it visually looks bad, but then said they're only getting backlash because they are a white family. So the absurd story gets even more absurd. Okay, because Cenk, I remember doing stories. I remember there was the NFL player, obviously, I forgot the name of the individual, but he used a switch on his son.
Adrian Peterson, yeah.
Adrian Peterson, yeah, that story, we were very critical of Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, he took skin off with the switch, okay, of a young kid. And then some people did defend him on cultural grounds, and we were like, no.
Right.
Like, I get it, just like we did in this story. I get the cultural background, and I talked to you about the old world. I talked to you about how here in America, almost all the families used to do that, white, black, or otherwise, etc. And we did it in Adrian Peterson's case here. But don't like reverse racism because we let black people do it, but we don't let black people do it. In fact, black people are punished way more severely overall for almost all infractions, including this one. So you just made that up.
Yeah, so the wife in this marriage, Simone Collins, told CNN, "We're kind of shocked by the racism threaded throughout this recent controversy. It is pretty well documented that African Americans and other minority groups practice corporal punishment much more than other groups."
No, okay, now I'm pissed. Bitch, you just did it, okay? Your family just did it. What are you, oh yeah, black people do it more. Oh, this is reverse racism, worst excuse ever. Shut up, Jesus Christ, and stop hitting your kids. Look, I showed grace before, but when you go turn around and blame black people for the stuff you actually did, I'm gonna need you to shut your mouth.
Can we just have a discussion about any issue in this country without immediately going to race?
Yeah.
Like, I love how
this
quickly
had nothing to do with race.
This turned into a race issue. Like, what?
Yeah. Now conservatives are doing it. Oh, we're so picked on because we're white. White people have no advantages in this society. Oh, whatever, just give it a rest. Jesus Christ, you whiny little bitches.
Okay, all right, relax. There is a double standard though, whereas, like if you say openly bigoted and awful things about, various groups of people, you absolutely get backlash and you should get backlash. But I mean, people say some pretty vicious things about white people in this country. They get away with it.
Yeah, but you know who holds them accountable? We do.
Yeah.
So when people on the left go like, oh, that white woman or something, we're like, well, what does her race have anything to do with this?
Right.
So be consistent about this. All right, but let's go to their dumb idea of having infinite kids.
I mean, that's pretty much it. They just think you should have a lot of kids, that we need to go beyond just replacing the birth rate that replaces us.
Okay, so on that, I've got a couple of comments. So number one, you do you, boo. You want to have 28 kids, hey, it's a free country. I literally have no problem with it. Have at it, Hoss.
Well, what do you do with the kids?
I don't care what you do with your kids, they're your kids.
But I'm being so serious, guys. Like, what do you do with 8 kids in America with our current economy? Where like ordinary people can't afford a home. So where do you park the 8 kids?
Yeah, look, so they're in, I think, like the middle of rural Pennsylvania.
No thanks.
Yeah, and
or actually maybe.
Yeah, well, actually that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So, anyways, I don't know if they have family money and that's why they can afford an estate or whatever they're in. But for most people, you're giving them super unrealistic advice. Oh, why don't you have 18 kids? Oh, okay, why don't I win the lottery? Right, and by the way, we know through other reality shows and then in the actual real world, people with a lot of kids, you know what they do? To answer your question literally, they have the older kids take care of the younger kids.
Yeah, it's totally true.
Right, and they're like, oh, we're such great parents. Hey, Susie, you go do the parenting, okay? And so you have this poor, girls and boys growing up. Instead of having their own childhood, they got to be the moms and dads of their younger siblings.
Yeah.
So and then anyways,
it's not fair.
Yeah, look, I don't love it, but again, hey, you're allowed to do whatever you want. It's not our business, and I wouldn't even judge. Like, it's not for me, but it's for you. That's the whole point of the country, freedom, right? But when they go and they say everyone should have a lot of kids, what is it your business, man? What do you care how many kids I have? I just need them to drink the tallest glass of shut up juice there is.
Yes, Cenk, I've been waiting for you to use that phrase again. You haven't used it in a while.
Well, they certainly amply deserved it.
Yes.
So they're going around, by the way, this is how they make their money.
I love shut up juice.
Yeah, so they're like influencers, and so they make money by trying to influence you to have too many kids and go broke, right? And then ironically, they make money by making you go broke, so then they have enough money to have more kids, okay? So then they go around moralizing to everyone. You should have kids. The moral thing to do is to have a lot of kids and not really care too much about it, and then have the siblings take care of them. Who cares? And then if you have, it's hard to handle all of them. So every once in a while, you just slap them across the face. I mean, bop them on the nose. But I'm judging you. You're living a bad, immoral life. Get out of here, man. Where's that glass? Where's that glass? Why don't you just quit your entire career, drink the glass of shut up juice, and take your kids and live your life? And again, you live your life the way you want to. I love it, I got no problem with it. When you judge others, when your house is not anywhere near in order, you can go ahead and F off.
That's right, Nick Rekieta. I know about the drama. I know about the drama. Okay, I know you don't, because this is such random YouTuber hot goss and drama. But I gotta tell you, because you're gonna love the story.
All right, I'm ready.
So this is for our members only. We're not gonna clip this out or anything like that. But
hey, tyt.com/team. We'll leave this part in so you know that there's an extra bit of sauce.
There is. This is a super juicy story. So, but also devastating.
The link will be in the description box, or you could hit the join button to get the rest of the hot goss.
Okay.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.